Welcome to the Office of Career Services, OCS, Recruiting Online Tutorial. This tutorial will cover OCS recruiting, the job search process, as well as OCS resources to help you be successful. This presentation is meant to help students get ready for recruiting and the full-time job search for opportunities beginning in 2022. We have a separate tutorial for the internship search. The focus for today is mainly on those employers that hire for full-time roles in a more structured way in the late summer and early fall, primarily finance, consulting, tech, and other business employers. Recruiting is a bit of a moving target, especially given the flexibility of virtual recruiting. By completing this tutorial and associated quiz, you will be subscribed to the recruiting email list. We'll send you updated information throughout the summer. While this presentation focuses on recruiting, it's important to note that OCS offers a large suite of services to help you at any stage of your search. We can also help you with advice on hiring and events in over 20 interest areas, graduate and professional school applications, and more. OCS arranges many opportunities to interact with employers representing a variety of career pathways. Make sure to receive This Week at OCS emails and update your preferences in the emails to receive targeted communications. OCS is here to help you remotely. Access appointment drop-in sign-up information from the Harvard College Advising section of the OCS website. Prior to COVID, the OCS campus interview program organized employer hiring into a very structured process with employers visiting campus to conduct first-round interviews. This process has been changing for several years, with some employers choosing to hire on their own timelines and through their own processes rather than a school-specific process. Since employers are no longer able to come to campus due to COVID-19, and since many employers were already starting to have completely online hiring processes, the campus interview program is now called Recruiting to reflect the new virtual hiring landscape. Recruiting with an uppercase R refers to employers that are actively coordinating their hiring efforts for Harvard students with OCS in one or more of the following ways: scheduling networking and information sessions, hosting coffee chats, promoting application deadlines in Crimson Careers, and scheduling interviews in Crimson Careers. Many of the same employers that hosted in-person interviews on campus are still connecting with OCS and participating in some form of structured recruiting. Employers that participate in recruiting can predict their hiring needs further in advance. They often have a pyramid structure and might bring in a class of new hires each year. There's often an alumni connection and consistent track record of hiring Harvard students year over year. Over 100 employers will post opportunities in Crimson Careers labeled as recruiting, and about 2/3 of those employers are expected to schedule interviews in Crimson Careers. The rest will use their own scheduling tools. However, the employers that participate in this structured form of recruiting are just a small subset of all opportunities. Most organizations do just-in-time hiring, posting positions when opportunities become available. These employers might do something more like lowercase r recruiting by adding positions to their website or hosting multi-school events. These organizations might have popular opportunities and don't really need to make a concerted effort to get top candidates. For example, The Atlantic often hires for their full-time program in the fall semester. They might still post in Crimson Careers, but they don't need to sign up for a structured recruiting process to attract applicants. The main industries that are a part of OCS recruiting are consulting, finance, tech, and other sectors with business opportunities like consumer goods. Note there are many employers that are interested in Harvard talent, but do not recruit in such a formal way. OCS recruiting should be just one part of your job search. The goal for employers that participate in recruiting is to make full-time hires. Students seeking full-time opportunities should be planning to graduate by June 2022. If you decide to delay your graduation date, you will likely be eligible for internships instead of full-time opportunities, as you would have a summer left prior to graduation. Note that employers likely will not adjust their planned full-time start dates for students with December graduations. Employers tend to start new hires as a class following May or June graduation dates. Graduation date is very important to employers and should be represented accurately. If you apply to an employer and your graduation date changes, you should update the employer as soon as possible. Students often ask why they should apply in Crimson Careers and on the employer website. Many employers ask that students apply on their website in addition to Crimson Careers. We recommend applying in both places as it can help make sure your application is reviewed. And if the employer is using Crimson Careers for interview scheduling, it'll allow you to sign up for an interview if you are selected by the employer. Even if an employer is not scheduling interviews through Crimson Careers, they might review applications through Crimson Careers. This could give your application an extra sort, as they may use Crimson Careers to review Harvard-specific applications. Even though OCS recruiting is a structured process, it's still not the easy way to find a job. It's not just hitting apply. Just like any job search, we recommend making connections. Many of the employers that participate in OCS recruiting schedule events to get to know and prepare candidates, and these events are an important step in the recruiting process. We'll talk a little later in this presentation about how you might connect with an employer outside of events as well. On the screen is a snapshot of the OCS employer events calendar from last summer. Again, we anticipate that there will be employer events throughout the summer, with the majority of events beginning August 16th. You can find employer virtual events in Crimson Careers and on the OCS calendar, which is separate from the OCS programs and workshops calendar. OCS organizes application deadlines for recruiting opportunities on specific days. These fall on Wednesdays. The first fall application deadline will be Wednesday, September 1st. Students still need to apply to opportunities individually in Crimson Careers, but for the most part, OCS recruiting employers will choose one of these Wednesday application deadlines. There are some exceptions. For example, an employer may have a firm-wide application deadline or choose to extend their application deadline to a different day of the week. First round interviews scheduled in Crimson Careers will take place September 13th through about October 28th. Note that some employers will promote their application in Crimson Careers, but will schedule interviews independently outside of Crimson Careers. Again, there are some exceptions to these dates, and we'll do our best to keep you updated over the recruiting email list. All OCS recruiting opportunities can be found in Crimson Careers. You can access Crimson Careers from the OCS website. Your username is your Harvard email address, and your password is your 8-digit Harvard ID number, unless you've changed it. You can run an advanced search for position type recruiting jobs to filter for program positions. Opportunities will be visible in Crimson Careers in mid-June and added on a rolling basis throughout the summer and early fall. We'll send an email when they are visible in Crimson Careers. Use the Documents tab in Crimson Careers to upload resumes, cover letters, your transcript, and other application materials so that you can preview the documents and ensure the formatting is correct. Use the Interviews tab in Crimson Careers to manage your OCS recruiting applications and scheduled interviews. OCS recruiting positions have a list of dates on the right-hand side, which differentiates them from other job postings. Again, positions will be available starting mid-June. So for this example, we're using a position from last fall. The apply button, as well as application deadline and other dates, are visible on positions as soon as they are posted. You can click the apply button to view additional application instructions. There is no risk in clicking on the apply button, as it will not submit your application automatically. Most employers are planning interviews on the date listed at the top right. Employers with the location virtual meeting link will schedule interviews through Crimson Careers. Other dates on the right-hand side, like sign up start date, will apply for these employers. The sign up start date is usually the date by which employers will notify candidates if they are invited or selected as an alternate to interview. This date can change if the employer needs more time to select candidates. Employers with only an application deadline listed will be scheduling interviews outside of Crimson Careers. You can manage your OCS recruiting applications from the Interviews tab in Crimson Careers, which is shown on the screen. You can withdraw an application and reapply with updated documents from the application section, as long as it is prior to the application deadline. For employers managing interviews through Crimson Careers, if you're invited or selected as an alternate to interview, you'll be able to select the 3 dots icon to schedule your interview on the relevant sign-up start date. You can always check back on the position title to see the list of dates on the right-hand side of the position description. Note that alternates are not guaranteed interviews, but often slots are available for alternates or become available closer to the interview cancellation's end date. Once you schedule an interview, you can reschedule or cancel from the scheduled interviews section until the cancellation's end date. The meeting link for your interview will also be available in Crimson Careers. Throughout the recruiting process, clear and timely communication is very important. Interactions with employers, while some may be more casual than others, should always be professional and demonstrate that you are ready for employment and the responsibilities that go with it. We recommend setting up or updating your LinkedIn profile for a professional online presence. Recruiters are still using the phone to communicate with candidates. Check your voicemail message to make sure it is appropriate, set up, and not full. Use an email signature for communications with employers. Make your emails businesslike, checking grammar, spelling, and format so there is no evidence of cut and paste. Employers may extend offers by phone or email. While you do not need to decide right away, it is important to acknowledge the offer and say thank you right away. Respond as soon as possible to all employer communications, even if it is just to acknowledge the communication and perhaps request a conversation on a later date and time. Anticipate being on video for virtual networking events and career fairs. Plan to dress in business casual for events to present yourself professionally. Plan to attend all events that you RSVP for, and contact an employer within 1 to 2 business days if you can no longer attend, especially for small coffee chats. For virtual interviews, know that technology is being used for virtual interviews, and make sure that you have the necessary software downloaded in advance. Make sure you arrive on time, which means about 3 to 5 minutes early for interviews, assuming you are comfortable with the technology. For interviews scheduled in Crimson Careers, you may cancel prior to the cancellation's end date listed in Crimson Careers. If an employer is scheduling interviews outside of Crimson Careers, plan to provide 1 to 2 business days notice if you need to cancel. Employers are asked to give students 1 or more options for second round interviews. If you have a conflict between a second and first round interview, try to reschedule the second round interview. OCS offers a number of resources to help students be successful in the recruiting process or any job search. The networked approach is the most effective way of finding postgraduate experiences. This applies to employers that participate in recruiting, as well as looking at other opportunities. We recommend that students take initiative and be proactive. Summer is a great time to connect with alumni for informational conversations. These conversations can help you prepare for applications and interviews, and also help you evaluate what is out there and what might be a good fit for you. Connect online through LinkedIn, the Harvard Alumni Association directory, and OCS Firsthand Advisors. OCS Firsthand Advisors lets you search for alumni in the database and request a career chat, resume review, or mock interview. This is the current year's career fair calendar. We will come out with our new calendar closer to the start of the new school year. This just gives you an idea of the timing. Our fall career fairs will be taking place virtually. Students will have the opportunity to connect in individual video chats and group sessions. OCS career fairs and industry expos connect students with hundreds of employers each year in a variety of interest areas. Our career fair lineup is scheduled to reflect employer hiring periods. For example, several nonprofits and startups that use just-in-time hiring will be included in events in the spring semester. When searching for opportunities, make sure to also look at non-recruiting program roles. Typically, 96% of positions in Crimson Careers are not part of recruiting. Set up a saved search in Crimson Careers to stay updated on roles that match your interest areas. InnerStride is a resource designed to help international students with their job search, and also includes listings for roles globally, as well as within the US. InnerStride includes tools for looking up US companies that have sponsored H-1B visas in the past. InnerStride is also helpful for anyone looking for international opportunities, with resources by country and insights into hiring and postings in that country. OCS has many resources to help students prepare application materials. Our resume template, available on the OCS website, is a great place to start. Employers have indicated that the format of your resume should not be a distraction. use the template or a similar clean format so that the content of your resume can be easily accessed. We vet this template with employers. They tell us they like it. Please make sure that your graduation month and year is stated accurately on your resume. If you will be on leave in the fall, you may still apply for all recruiting opportunities since everything will be virtual. However, please be sure to indicate that you are on leave using the OCS leave of absence template resume. We recommend having your resume reviewed before you begin submitting it. OCS will have some resume and cover letter review-a-thon appointments this summer, which will be announced over the OCS recruiting email list. You can also use OCS First-Hand Advisors resource to request a resume review from an alum. OCS also offers many resources to help students prepare for interviews. Access online tools that OCS has licensed free of charge from the OCS website, such as Vault, which gives guides and interview tips by sector, Interview Stream, which allows you to practice an interview anytime using a webcam, OCS First-Hand Advisors, which makes it easy to connect with an alum over the phone for a career chat, resume review, or mock interview, Case Questions Interactive, Mark Cosentino's case interview preparation site for the consulting case interview. If you are interested in consulting, we recommend preparing for case interviews this summer. Use resources like casequestions.com to get started and connect with peers to start practicing. After some practice, request mock interviews with alumni using tools like First-Hand Advisors. When you do get an offer, keep in mind that the first thing you need to do is say thank you. We recommend expressing your appreciation and asking for details in writing so that you may review. Plan to stay in active communication with the employer and accept or decline in a timely manner. OCS updated our offer decision deadlines to guidelines this past year. OCS maintains that students should have at least through the end of their summer 2021 experience to decide about opportunities beginning in 2022. After that point, 2-week or longer decision windows may be permitted. Employers promoted by OCS agree to this minimum timeframe. OCS still recommends that employers give students until October 7th to decide on offers extended prior to September 1st and November 4th to decide on offers extended after September 1st. We are here to help all students who want to negotiate for more time than they are given to decide. And we will also advocate on a student's behalf if requested. For time-sensitive offer questions, we can schedule appointments outside of our usual drop-in and appointment offerings. Email OCSREC, which is OCSREC at fas.harvard.edu to request a conversation. To complete registration for the recruiting program, you must take and pass the online quiz. OCS recruiting quizzes are graded on Tuesdays. You will receive an email confirmation once your Crimson Careers account has been activated for OCS recruiting access.